Hi, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of the ShopNotes Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Huber, joined with my co-conspirators, Logan and John. Today is episode number 79, and we give a couple of shop updates today and talk about some of our favorite tools and Logan's upcoming trip to the woodworking show in Las Vegas. Viva! Hope you enjoyed today's show.
This episode of the ShopNotes Podcast is brought to you by Woodsmith Magazine. Woodsmith Magazine has been the trusted source for all your woodworking information for over 40 years. From tips and techniques to furniture projects to shop projects, you'll find it all at Woodsmith Magazine. Subscribe today at woodsmith.com.
All right, so let's start with the show.
Yeah.
Mr. Whitmer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking next week for the podcast, we're doing it while
Live
you're there.
at AWFS. We're going to have to bring in my announcer voice.
Welcome to the ShopNotes Podcast, live at AWFS.
Yeah, where you have to have that, like, overblown, yeah. I'm yelling because it's really loud here.
You can walk around the floor and just start, like, grab people to
That would be
interview.
awesome.
And
I have no problem doing that.
Yep.
So what are you hoping to see here next week?
To be honest with you, AWFS generally is, I would not call AWFS a consumer show necessarily. It is more of an industrial show, so it's more of a show for big cabinet manufacturers, big furniture makers. It's a lot of industrial equipment is what it is. So it's a lot of people in the woodworking world that produce industrial equipment. So, you have a lot of big companies that make doors or cabinet parts or edge banding machines, stuff like that. Now, there are some smaller, I say smaller, they're still huge companies, but some hobbyist or consumer-facing companies that are going to be there. We have Triton will be there. Rycon's not there this year. Rycon's there fairly often. So a lot of those type of companies will be there in some capacity. To be honest with you, we are there. Jack and myself are going to be there more to meet with clients, to meet with some of our big advertisers, to kind of see what they have going on, what their plans are for this year. So we'll be having dinner with a couple of them, having breakfast with a few more of them. So it should be a good show. We'll see. I will say, for anybody from Las Vegas, I apologize, but not my favorite city in the world. Not even in my top, not even the top half of my favorite cities.
wow.
Sorry.
And Las Vegas has always spoken highly of you.
Oh, no.
And then you go turn around and backstab like that.
They have the Raiders now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, they do. I'll tell you what, last time I was in Vegas, the amount of people that were there to see the Raiders play, that you could tell they were there to see the Raiders play, was a little obnoxious. Which, and I think I speak for the Las Vegas population, that they are not a fan. So it brings a lot of people in from like California and stuff to see them.
Sure.
And I think
all the Oakland, Los Angeles fans that
I think the tickets are fairly cheap. So I think it gets a lot of influx of people, and they're there to party.
Yep.
No, thank you.
And they're pretty theatrical fan base,
Yeah, they are.
I believe.
That's true.
So
I still think of them as the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah. I mean, and to be
I feel like their foray to Los Angeles for a while was, I don't know, felt out of step.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago here in Iowa, I was behind a car that had Nevada license plates that were Raiders branded license plates, and it took me a second to like, oh, that's cool that you can get any NFL team and and then it's like, oh wait, they're in Nevada now. Well, I forget. So
I mean, you're an AFC fan,
I
Logan,
know.
as a Dolphin fan. Like, how have you felt about the Raiders?
I mean, whatever. I mean, so my philosophy on the Raiders, as a team and as a fan base, you can't play for the Raiders nor be a Raiders fan unless you've been to jail.
So that's fair.
All right, I'm ready for all the hate mail from the Raiders fans that listen to this.
Right. That was
But
that was
Yeah,
our
you're gonna
off-topic
be in
segment.
Las
I
Vegas.
will. I know. I
next
might
week.
get jumped.
This-
So
I might get jumped.
they know where you're at.
But yeah, so no, so it'll be AWFS, and then I think next year is going to be the show in Atlanta. The IWF will be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which
That one's not necessarily a consumer show
it
either.
is not.
I mean, I feel like
it is not.
they just kind of alternate It's essentially, I don't know, from the outside, I'm sure that there are insiders that are totally going to correct us here. So bring it. But I feel like it's exactly the same show, just with different names, and they alternate the cities that they're in.
Yeah, and I get that, and I see that. There was, when I was in the print industry, there was a couple of print shows that did the same thing. And it was interesting going to all those print shows because you got different companies at each because of where they were located. So it's like,
sure.
the IWF will be in Atlanta, I believe. So the companies that are on the eastern half of the country are more likely to attend that than they are to go to Vegas. Although Vegas is so cheap to get to anyways. But, so, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. To be fair, one of the reasons I decided to take the position at Popular Woodworking was that I do enjoy a lot of client interaction. I've been in sales for a number of years, so being able to meet with our advertisers and our partners in the industry and, go hang out with them, see what they have going on, collaborate with them. That was a large portion of what made the decision for me. So I'm looking forward to it,
You are our extrovert.
Yeah,
that's
is
true.
Yep. So it'll be fun. It will be fun.
Okay.
All right.
Bring back samples.
Bring back all the samples.
Yeah.
That's the trade show thing. That drives me absolutely nuts about trade shows. And I get it. Like, when I was in college, I had my entire, dorm room and apartments in college were covered in, print posters. I was a complete print nerd. So they were covered in, big, huge glamour posters from, HP and Heidelberg and stuff, and everybody showing off their amazing print graphics and stuff, foil stamping and UV and stuff. And they're just, really cool photos. Or they're not of, a printing press. I'm not that nerdy. But it's, a picture of a Lamborghini where it's all glossy and stuff. It's stuff like that.
Right.
And that was fun to go to trade shows back then and get stuff like that. Now I hate tchotchke type stuff. So it's like when somebody's like, hey, you want a free stress ball with our name on it? I'm like, nope, I do not. Unless you want to watch me throw it in the garbage as I walk away, I don't. I am sorry. I'll take your business card, but that's it.
Yeah. Take your stress ball, walk 10 yards, and turn it around and wing it back at you.
That's right. I did. So this actually ties into to the Shop Notes podcast in one way, kind of. I did order some Popular Woodworking polos to wear when I was there. And we've had a lot of people asking us about Shop Notes apparel, the mug that Phil uses, stuff like that. And that stuff will be coming to the Woodsmith website very soon. So I have everything in place to do it. I just got to get the time to get everything up. So if anybody has special requests for apparel or product, let me know, and we'll see what we do to get some branded product up there.
Maybe some stress balls?
No, we're not doing stress balls.
Oh.
I would love a Shop Notes zip-up
That would be cool.
That's my request.
Got it.
I'm long past the point where pullover hoodies make sense for me.
Because you throw your back out when you put them on?
Practically, yeah. I feel like,
trapped.
I either need to see a chiropractor just before or just after, especially removing it, and B, it just is...
I just always find
pain
they
to-
fit me weird, so...
Yeah.
But the cool thing is about this, about how we are planning on doing this apparel, is that it is all printed on demand, so we don't have to inventory anything. So if somebody's like, hey, I really want a Shop Notes baseball jersey, okay, great. I'll put it up there for you.
Right.
You can order it. You might be the only
Sure.
one. It's a collector edition.
Yeah.
It's limited edition. There's only one available.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Yeah.
nice.
Get your favorite player's name on the back, and
Yeah.
Oh, that would be weird.
yeah.
Stickers? Can we do stickers on there?
I think we can. Yeah, I'm sure we could.
I thought Printful
Yep,
had
I
stickers.
think we could. So,
Because that'd be fun. I'd do
Scratch
a
and
Shop Notes sticker,
yeah,
Woodsmith
if we do
sticker.
scratch and sniff walnut ones, that'd
Right.
be awesome.
Ooh, the Shop Notes podcast as a sticker, the mug logo.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know,
All that stuff.
is this all cliche because we're a podcast?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I just got a sticker in the mail for Wooden Boat magazine. I always thought their
What?
logo
I
was
didn't get
kinda
one of
cool.
those. Did you have to request that?
No, because it came, this is going to make it sound way less cool than it is,
Okay.
as part of a subscription offer for direct mail. Free sticker enclosed.
Let's see the sticker. Where's it at?
Let me see if I still have it here.
Because they do have a very cool logo.
It's already on his bumper of his car.
Right, yeah, I'm just going to turn my webcam around and show you my car across the street.
Mm-hmm. You got to sign up for their fan club, and then you get stickers.
Yeah.
I guess. You know, that's something I've been wanting. I think have I talked about wanting to build a boat? Have I talked about that at all?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Yes.
you talked about it just last
Did
week,
I?
maybe, or the
Okay.
week before.
Oh,
The
yeah.
cedar strip
There's the
canoe.
Wooden Boat one.
Yeah.
So it's,
That's cool.
I believe it's inspired by a Viking longboat
That's what it
Mm-hmm.
looks like.
viewed front on, but I always thought that they had a cool logo.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did talk about the cedar strip canoe, about how it'd be nice to have the room to do it.
Yeah.
Because we have so many different titles, we as Active Interest Media, our parent company, we have a marine group. And the marine group are kind of hoity-toities because they service a clientele that has very, very, very large, very expensive boats, right?
Right.
But I thought it would be a very cool collaboration to build a 28-foot center console deep sea fishing boat with them. We could do a collaboration between Anglers Journal, the Marine Group, and the Home Group. That would be awesome.
Okay.
That would be amazing. So
Yeah,
I volunteer to build it.
collaborate with the Downing family that used to work here. They were
Right.
big boat.
They sailed,
big
though.
boat family.
That's true.
They have
I mean, we could
sailboats.
put a mast on it. That'd be all right.
Yeah, it's hard to fish around a mast. You need the hard top T canopy
Not-
so you can have
not
your
with that kind of
outriggers. Maybe we'll just build two. The problem is, and I have bought. So there's a gentleman by the name of Jeff Spira, Spira, and Jeff has been designing boats for 35, 40 years, and he sells his boat plans. And I've bought one of his boat plans for a center console fishing boat. Because at some point during my life, I will build one. That is my life goal. Like Frodo had his ring, I have a boat that I need to build. Okay, and
Frodo's ring was kind of the end of him.
well, and
you know that,
yes,
right?
I know. There's an interesting parallelism here because my wife may end me if I do this, but I have all the entire material list in an Excel spreadsheet, and the cost for it was not too bad until lumber prices went through the frickin' roof, and then all of a sudden. What would be a $6,000 boat to build all of a sudden became a $25,000 boat to build, and it's I've been thinking I got a lot of ash logs at my house. How well would ash do as a boat would? The boat would get extremely heavy, I think.
Yeah, but I would think you would be able to use it for, the larger framing
Yeah, and that's
members, timbers, or whatever they call it.
Most of Jeff Spira's boat designs are very, very similar. Well, not really. Kind of similar to how we built the one for the Woodsmith that we did last year.
Oh, okay.
But he uses dimensional lumber, so 2x4, 2x6, stringers underneath the floor and up the sides.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so instead of using dimensional lumber, I was like, I could use ash, I think. The boat just gets heavy. Not that big a deal. And to be honest with you, a heavier boat sometimes is better because the momentum helps you break through waves and stuff. Now,
Yeah.
I say this that I'm like I want to build like a blue water fishing boat to take out like in the Gulf Stream off the East Coast. I'm in the middle of Iowa. I'd have to pull it 26 hours to get over to the Gulf or get
Right.
over to the coast. But come on, that would be cool.
Well, I mean, you got to sell it right, though, because what I'm thinking is that you build it, and then could you take it just south of Lake Red Rock, and then fish your way from the Des Moines River through the Mississippi, New Orleans, Gulf of Mexico.
This is turning into an epic journey.
As soon as you said Frodo, I'm like,
Yep.
super long, arduous journey.
If we could get the Marine Group and Anglers Journal to go in on this with me, absolutely. I am down. I will be freaking Huckleberry Finn, and we'll just be going down the Mississippi. Although there is a different route, right? You couldn't go like north through the Great Lakes?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, because
So-
you could. Once you get to the from the Des Moines River and you hit the Mississippi, if you hang a left instead of a right,
Okay.
then you get the Illinois River
Yep.
to just south of Chicago.
Into Lake Michigan.
Yeah, because there is a lock there that will
Yep.
get you into the. Is it the Chicago River
Yeah.
that will get you into Lake Michigan, and then you could go,
See, I'm liking this. Now the problem is,
or you have to do the circle.
yes. Oh, that would be so awesome. Like, I'm thinking we can. Yeah, this is going to
Scoop
be
the
a
loop.
great YouTube series.
There's a name for it too. Like
It is.
I've seen in the
Yeah, it's like the
Great Circle Tour or
Yeah,
something like that.
yep.
Or
so.
We could call it Logan's Run.
That's my
really
namesake.
original.
You guys knew that, right? That was what I was
Yeah.
named after. Was that movie? And
All right.
my brother was named Spencer for Hire. So
so
Yeah.
your parents watched a lot of TV, is what you're
I
telling
think
me.
my dad did. I don't think my mom was. I don't think she was as enthused, but so
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing now is we're going to start a GoFundMe so we can make this happen.
Right.
Yes. Offset the cost. So
Yeah.
all right, so enough about my boat journey that I want to take.
I mean, a canoe would be fun. I would love to make a canoe.
Yeah.
I'm more of a small rivers and lakes kind of
Yep.
person than I am, and I don't really fish.
Yeah. Well, and
I mean, I'll blow an afternoon with anybody who wants to fish just to chat and
Yeah.
hang out on the water, but
yeah, I mean it's
I just didn't grow up with it. So
well, and to be honest with you, not fishing takes a whole lot of. It's weird because fishing's supposed to be relaxing, but it takes a whole lot of stress off of it. You know, it's like, hey, just grab a cooler and some sandwiches and your boat, and you're just floating. You're floating and looking. You know, it's
yeah,
awesome. Like, and yeah,
yeah.
but had a lot of people on the last episode. I think it was last episode or 2 episodes ago, commenting about how people have also wanted to build canoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a common project that people, dream. It's a dream project.
Yeah.
So
But like an approachable dream project. I mean,
Oh, completely.
because a canoe you can keep in your garage or whatever, and it's not a big deal. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't really need a trailer for it, or
Especially if you build a shorter one. Like the 2 canoes I have are both 18 footers, and they're long. They're hard to handle. The aluminum one's pretty heavy. It's 98 pounds, something like that.
yeah,
But if you build like a shorter, 14 to 16 footer, a 1-person cedar strip canoe, oh man, yeah, throw it in the back of a truck. They weigh 50 pounds. Not bad.
yeah.
So again, and for fear of repeating last week's podcast, there's a little pucker factor involved when you just spent a couple hundred hours building a canoe, and all of a sudden you're paddling around rocks and down trees, and
Yep.
gives me a little bit of anxiety. But
yeah,
Well, it's like driving around with a new car.
Yeah.
You just get that first door
I was
ding
saying,
and be done with
just
it.
drop it on a rock right off the bat before it touches the water. You'll be fine.
yeah. Flex Seal isn't that expensive either. I mean,
Oh, hold on.
This podcast brought to you by Flex Seal.
Yes. Has some on that note? Has somebody bought Flex Seal, or is it just its own brand still, or is it like Rust-Oleum owned?
I don't
I have
know.
no idea.
Okay, well, I just figured you guys would know. Like, you guys know, like, a lot of facts. So
Google it.
Yeah, but see, that's more like a useful piece of information,
well, yeah,
and that's not really our stock in trade.
that's true. That's fair. Looks like Flex Seal is still owned by Flex Seal. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's cool to see, like, mom and pop business making it.
rich mom and pop business.
Mhm.
Huh. Interesting. All right.
All right. Speaking of brand new projects, I am this far away from actually finishing my workbench, which I had threatened to build in one of the podcasts from near the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to admit something that in January, it was kind of a dream that I would build a workbench. And if you go back to that podcast episode and run through all the reasons why I wanted to have another workbench, a different workbench, not a second workbench. But I wasn't actually sure that it would really happen.
Sure.
And then we decided to do it for videos, to do videos of it. And then it kind of became a little bit more real. And then once it went on the schedule for Woodsmith Unlimited members for their weekly subscription, then it became even more real because now Becky was on my case to be able to finish it in a timely manner.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one good thing about doing projects on video is once you start them, you are forced to finish in a timely manner.
Becky forces us to finish.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
So,
Which is a good thing. So
Yeah.
gets done.
well, that's always been what I've said. It's like, if you want to build something, just put it on the video schedule, and then you'll have to build it.
Right.
Right.
It takes the joy out of it, but you have to do it.
So the past segment that I was working on was completing the bench top, which I'm following a plan from ShopNotes, which is on Woodsmith Plans. And I made a couple of modifications to it in terms of size and whatever. But now that I have it done, the top done, and as I cleaned it up, it was like, this is super cool. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So, not necessarily anything because of, I feel like my craftsmanship took a step up in making the top, well, in making the whole thing, but the top itself was kind of fun to see, get the clamps off and then start planing down the surface because it's a solid wood top. And it's like, boom, there it is. Mm-hmm. It looks super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few details you have to do, but when you got the top on, yeah, it's like, it's real.
Oh, it's a bench.
now.
Yeah.
A real bench. So,
And then, so you know what the crux of this whole thing is going to be, Phil, is when you finish your bench and it leaves, that's going to force us to clean up the rest of the video studio. because the video studio right now is kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
But I haven't been motivated to pick my stuff up out of it because I'm like, Phil's bench is in here still.
Yeah. Taking up like an acre of space.
Yeah. So it's like, you know what? When it's done, we'll clean.
Yeah. So next week, hopefully we'll be filming the finale of the bench. Anyway, so I'm excited about it. It's pretty cool. I was talking to John about this the other day, that the bench base has 8 drawers in it, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to put in those drawers. I'm feeling like one of the rare woodworkers, even in my own past woodworking shop environments, feeling like I have too much storage right now. And it's a weird feeling, because ordinarily it's the reverse.
Yeah.
I know they're going to get filled.
Yeah.
And I will be disappointed at that, because it'll be like, I think I have too many possessions.
Well, and my problem is, I get what you're saying, and it's true. You can have too much storage, Because what happens then, at least when I have, I added like a little rolling. It's like a little rolling tool chest cabinet thing under my sharpening station, and all of a sudden I had like 6 new drawers. So I started breaking stuff out of other drawers, put them in those drawers, and then all of a sudden I'm like, where did I put? It's like, where did I put something? And then it's like, oh, it's in the Forstner bit drawer.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's almost better. I don't know. It's almost better to have like everything. I don't know.
Just out on the workbench.
Yes. Well, it's like, I mean, in that tool cabinet, I put like finishing stuff in the very bottom because it's the deepest drawer, and that's all heavy. Then the next drawer up, I put kind of specialty like mica powders and dyes and stuff like that. And then the next drawer up is random tools. Next drawer up is random tools, and all those random tools. I'm like, oh, this is my random tool drawer. But then I start looking for a random tool, and I go to where I had it last, not where I have it now. So,
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's going to be a certain amount of, like the old memory game where you had to like flip over 2 cards and find the same faces. You know, it's going to be that once I start moving in there. But one of the things that I found was interesting is the middle part of the bench top has a big glued up panel that's like 1.25 inches thick and about just shy of 6 feet long. And we have a really cool jointer in the shop, and I thought, I'm just going to use that because it's a carbide spiral cutter head on it, and I'll joint the 2 edges and get a sweet glue joint. Except when I ran both boards across, went to glue it up, or, you know, fit the boards together, and I had an ultra mega spring joint in there.
Oh, it's called a leaf spring joint.
Yeah, at the center of it, I had probably almost 1/4 inch gap, which takes a solid amount of clamping pressure to squeeze out. And I felt like that was probably non-standard. So I ended up having to do something that in my head I wanted to do all along, was use my jointer plane and joint the edges that way. Which on 6-foot boards is doable, but challenging for the simple fact that you end up having to like switch boards in the vise often, you know, and moving them around, and then test fitting is not as easy as if you just have, you know, like 2-3-foot boards or something. So, but anyway, I feel like I was able to, one of those skills that I improved on was my hand edge jointing abilities.
Sure.
So,
yeah. No, I think that is one of the biggest issues, I think, in like trying to work in the photo studio or video studio, like we do a lot, is tools get moved around and stuff gets knocked. Like I have recalibrated that, like that joiner when it's calibrated is phenomenal.
yeah.
But it gets moved around so much and shifted and, you know, not gently moved either. I mean, it's more move it so we can get cameras and it gets knocked. So I've had that same issue, and it doesn't have the longest jointer beds in the world either.
No, it's not. But
You know,
I felt like it was still long enough that a
Should've
6-foot
been.
boards should have been okay.
Yep. So
And I surfaced the bench top by hand, which I was a little worried about in terms of tear out or whatever, because I had just different grain structures or whatever.
Yep.
But again, I got it smooth but flat as well. So that was kind of fun to realize that I had that in me to be able to do.
Sure.
John, what do you got going on?
Well, I finished my grill cart that we, talked about, and it's not a cart for a grill. It is a grill that was converted into a cart, shop cart. If you weren't listening, I think last week we were talking about it. So it's a pretty fun little project because it was easy. Just tear all the grill stuff off and put new shelves in and kind of customize some stuff and turn it into a little sharpening station. So,
for as rinky or janky, racking that grill was, I think it's actually really solid.
Yeah.
I'm actually impressed by that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was ready to do that as a tip, but I wasn't sure how well it would turn out.
Right. Yeah. And actually, is that like a lot of tips? It's like, oh, we'll build this and go straight to the dumpster as soon as we photograph it. And this one's like, oh, I might find a little home in the shop here. Carts are always, come in handy. So
yeah,
might stick around for a while.
And it's pretty lightweight too. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Not flimsy, but
yeah. Yeah, because in the one side of it has like the bigger 6-inch wheels on it, so it's not those little tiny casters that you would see on most grills. So it can be wheeled around pretty easily. So I like that. So that was a pretty easy project to get done and off the books.
Yeah.
So on to the next thing.
Any Playhouse updates?
Oh, the kids keep bugging me to paint it, but I think it rains just often enough where I can avoid it for now. But it's one of those things that it's there, it's usable.
Right. Or it's too
nice.
hot to paint.
Yeah.
It's like I could brush it on, but each brush stroke is going to dry as I put it on.
Right.
Would you, if you painted it, John, would you brush it? Would you roll it? Would you spray it?
I'd probably just brush it. I don't know. It's got that kind of rough, what is it, like T1 siding or whatever.
Oh,
so
11, yeah.
It would probably spray pretty well too, but I don't know. It's not that big. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see if it ever happens.
I despise brushing.
Yeah.
Despise it.
And that's probably why I've avoided it too, because I think it's just going to turn into be a mess.
Yeah.
Of dripping everywhere.
Well, see, I always I get impatient when I'm brushing paint, and I'm like, this brush does, and maybe it's because I buy cheap brushes, but it's like this paint doesn't hold, or this brush doesn't hold paint, so you end up scooping it like an ice cream scoop, and then slapping it on so the paint stays on there, and then you have more paint you can spread around. I hate it.
Yeah, especially with that rough exterior siding, it seems like just to soak up all the paint in the nooks and crannies. So you're just like what you said, just kind of scooping it on there and just spreading it around.
I feel like I do the same thing with an anchor seal when I'm sealing logs, and that's if you're supposed to put on thick. But I end up scooping it with the paintbrush. I get those free, Menards does the free paintbrush after rebate things. I buy a bunch of them and they go in my anchor seal bin, and I just scoop and slap. It's like I'd almost be better to put it on with a drywall knife or something. Just drywall mud right on the end of the log. But,
so have you been working on anything, Logan?
So kind of funny. Last night I picked up a Playhouse. So our vice president here had a play set in his backyard for the last couple years, and he had posted on Facebook hey, anybody want this? We have to get rid of it because we're getting a pool put in. And I was like, well, my kids have kind of wanted one for a while. My wife's talked about getting one, and I'm too cheap to go. I'll spend a couple $100 on a hand plate, no problem. But man, you ask me to spend $1,000 on lumber to build a play set? No way. Priorities, man, priorities.
Yep. Sorry, kids.
Yeah, sorry. But he had it, and it was a nice. It's a what brand was it? It's Adventure something. I don't know. It was an expensive playset, I think, when they put it in. And he's like, to be honest with you, if you come and get it, you can have it for free. So I went over there yesterday afternoon after we had a meeting in the afternoon. Went over there, and him and I disassembled it and stacked it in my truck. It took 2 trips to get it to my house. So now I have a playset.
A project.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, it's been in his yard for a couple years, so there's a couple things that need replaced on it and fixed. But it's cedar. It needs pressure washed and restained, and that's why I was asking about how you would do yours, John, because it needs something put on it.
Yeah.
Paint's probably a heavy coat of latex or oil paint is probably the best because it's starting to get a little rough in some areas. There ain't no way in that I'm gonna brush it. So
I think we still have some marine grade
epoxy
paint from the boat.
Yes, the epoxy paint.
Yep.
But no, so I have that sitting at home, and I need to start in the next week, and I'll probably start it when I'm in Vegas, drawing and coming up with a plan for this humidor I'll be working on for PopWood. So it's a couple issues out. It will not be in the next issue. The next issue will have this shaker side table. Yeah, I need to come up with some decent drawings for it, so I kind of have a plan in my head. So then I actually think before the humidor, I also am going to be working on I'll be building the humidor first, because we double dip on our photo, so we have one photographer and jump back and forth between me and Dylan as we're doing the projects. The next one will be actually the next project that will appear, that will be mine, I don't think will be the humidor. I think it will be a grill cart, like an actual grill cart, cart for your grill. Not what John
not some
was doing.
janky curbside free grill cart.
Yeah. So
what you're going to do is go pick up a grill from the side of the road and then redo it. But this time, instead of a grill, it's going to hold a grill.
That's right. No, I don't know if I talked about this or not. Did we talk about the Big Green Egg grill cart at all?
No,
we did. Okay. So I recently purchased what's called a Kamado style grill. It's like the Big Green Egg. I bought an off-brand because, again, I'm too cheap to buy a Big Green Egg.
Now, did you get the ceramic?
It is ceramic.
Okay, because I know they make them in like cast iron or something, right?
Yeah. No, this is
like two
enameled.
styles.
This is like enameled ceramic. It's like an off-brand. I bought the Aldi's version of the Big Green Egg, basically.
Okay.
But one of our issues for PopWood that is going to be in the spring, we are going to kind of do like a spring issue. So it will have like outdoor games, some grilling utensils, grill cart, stuff like that. So I thought I would. I've seen in the Big Green Egg and Kamado's communities, these carts are really popular. So it's like, I mean, the egg or the grill comes with a stand, but a lot of guys will put them inside of a cart, so you have some work surface. You can store your charcoal and your lighters and all that stuff. So I think we're going to do one of those, and I think I'm going to do it out of that Iroko that I just did for the top of the picnic table we did. But this begs an interesting question, and I want your guys' opinion on because most of the time these grill carts like this are designed, and if you buy a commercial one or if you build one, a lot of times people say this is not for pizza oven temperatures, because you can get those up to 800 degrees, and I've seen a few of them that have the carts have lit on fire or got scorched because the grill is so hot. Now, in normal grilling temperatures, the outside gets hot, but it's hot enough that you could touch it, and you're not going to get burned, but you're going to know, okay, that's hot, I don't want to touch it. When does the liability come off of somebody designing and showing a project and go more towards the user? Now, I'm talking about the grill cart here, but something like, I mean, anything like our boat that we built for Woodsmith, for example.
Yeah.
When do you have to put common sense on people? Like, we designed that boat for 2 or 3 people. What if somebody throws 12 people in there, and all of a sudden we start getting hate mail that, hey, this boat sucks, I can't keep 12 people in it. It's like, well, yeah, dummy.
I can't pull a skier.
You can't pull a skier. Like, I mean, it's, again, like, another good example is cribs. Not many woodworking publications do cribs anymore because there's so many regulations in place, and rightfully so.
Right.
But if you go back 25, 30 years ago, there was a lot more crib designs out. I guess where is the line drawn that, you know what, we can show you how to build it, but it's your responsibility on the use on it?
Yeah.
Just put the disclaimer, for entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
There you go. Well, one thing Workbench magazine years and years ago did a grill cart that you should look at.
Okay.
And I know that there was somebody that who built it and ended up with a fire. And there was some litigation surrounding it.
Sure.
Steve Johnson might know more about it.
Yeah.
But I think it ended up being that the person who built it didn't follow the plans exactly, or
Sure.
I think I'm trying to think now. I feel like I've seen somewhere regulations or advice about how far away combustibles need to be from a grill.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean it's one of those things that it's just, to me, it's a very blurry line. It's like, yeah, there's regulations on it and stuff, and we can follow those, but still, I mean, it's like anything. The user is responsible for their own safety. Like,
right.
If we show a shop-made machine, let's say, a shop-made lathe, and somebody builds it, and maybe they follow it precisely to a T, or maybe they don't, but they end up doing something unsafe with it, that's, in my opinion, not on us, that's on them.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Common sense has to come into play somewhere, right?
Right.
Well, we've all
You
heard
would think.
Common sense is not so common anymore. I've been doing that this entire show, but I realized it was on preview, so only I could hear it.
It's just in your head this whole time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, it's one of those things that I know I'm gonna get feedback on it.
Like ShopNotes built a spray booth, a mobile spray booth. I think you ended up buying that at an auction, right?
Yep. And
it was
community school district has it.
Yeah. It was approximately the size of like a box truck.
Yep.
And we built it and talked about it right from the start, that it was designed for non-flammable finishes. And we nevertheless still got a bunch of hate on it about, we didn't use an explosion-proof fan or anti-arcing wiring in it and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, hey, you know what? Just relax.
Yeah. I tell my wife that sometimes.
Yeah, you're overreacting.
Yes.
Calm
It
down.
always diffuses the situation.
Yeah.
And you want to be safe about stuff, which is why we tried to be very clear in disclaimers.
Yep.
But on the other hand, a lot of the regulations that exist for stuff, especially around like spray booths, are in commercial and industrial settings where you are going to have higher volumes of finish, higher levels of solvent,
Yeah, I mean, if you're using a rattle can to spray a little jewelry chest, that's a lot different than being in an industrial spray booth that is standing there for 12 hours a day spraying catalyzed
kitchen
lacquer,
cabinets.
yes, that are on a conveyor that are just coming through, and they're spraying hundreds of them a day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, personally, I always say it's natural selection. Like, it's the universe's way of weeding out people that need common sense. But, again, that being said, I think everybody is always responsible for their own safety. Like, you should have a pretty good sense of self-preservation. Right? Like,
Right.
My youngest child does not. He has no sense of self-preservation. Like, he's like, a deck? Yeah, 12 foot. I could jump that. And he'll try. But I don't know. It's just an interesting thought, because I know I have seen other woodworkers that sell plans and stuff build, grill carts or, catapults or, ballistas, just stuff that's kind of fun, but could be dangerous.
Right.
And they get a lot of criticism for it. But it's like, you know what? Guys, settle down. Use your brain. You got a brain for a reason. Use it. Be safe. We're not here to hold anybody's hand most of the time.
How do you think of that, John? Because I know as a designer, we'll get asked, like, what's the weight capacity of this bookshelf? Or,
right.
I
how
made
much,
this
how
chair.
much weight can that bed hold? And it's like, well, really the only way to find out is load it to capacity and then
back it up,
break it. Yeah. And then, it could still be different for the way you built it, or the wood you used, or the grain that you picked, or so it's kind of hard, like on one-off stuff like the projects we do, and we're not in an industrial setting, and so it's I'm not a litigation lawyer, so I couldn't tell you who is liable, but yes, there's a lot of gray area and all of that. So I would think that a lot of it would fall on the end user. I mean, we try to show as safe as possible and follow a lot of the regulations. Like, I know Dylan is doing a flammables case, and he went through a lot of the regulations on that stuff, and follow them as good as you can. And
yeah, that's an interesting. I completely forgot that project hasn't even been photographed yet. It's just a wall hanging flammables cabinet to contain flammable finishes and solvents and stuff. That's another instance of don't store dynamite in it.
Right. Yeah, but it's also one of those things where there are guidelines.
Yeah,
right.
You might not think of it that you can make a cabinet to store finishing supplies out of wood-based materials and be okay, but there are guidelines in terms of construction, because the idea behind it is to keep fire out of it for as long as possible. It's not built to contain fire, but to keep the finishes protected in there so that they don't contribute to a fire for as long as you can. So, interesting concept.
I didn't know you could order 1-inch thick MDF.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff was nasty.
Yeah, it was like exterior grade, too, I think.
Yeah, it was like 120 pounds for that sheet or something. It was ridiculously heavy. And Dylan got it onto the table himself. I don't know how he did that.
It's very wiry.
Yeah. I think the best part was he had the case all glued up, and some of the joints were a little not misaligned, but just had some, because there's rabbet joints and whatnot in there, and it had some overhanging material. And he just grabs one of our Veritas number 4 planes and just goes at it, and he basically surfaced the whole thing. It's like, raise your hand if you've planed MDF.
You can send your hate mail to dbaker@amedia.com and John Doyle and Phil Huber.
I plane MDF and plywood routinely, and I find that it works outstanding.
I have no problem taking my block plane to it, but not my smoother or my joiner.
Right. I mean, I think we've talked about this before. I have a plane where I kind of have it dedicated as a plywood plane or whatever, but it works really well. Does a great job. All right. I think that wraps up another episode of the Shop Notes Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or smart remarks about what you've heard in today's episode, we've got a lot to inspire your commentary on today. Please leave it in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, or you can send it to us, woodsmith@woodsmith.com. One of the things I'd like to do going forward is reading more of our comments that we get on upcoming episodes. If you have a question that you want to have answered, we will do our best to address it. If you have something you want Logan to see while he's at AWFS next week in Las Vegas, send it our way. Otherwise, we will see you again next week on another episode of the Shop Notes Podcast. Bye, everybody.
This episode of Shop Notes Podcast is brought to you by Woodsmith Plans. You'll find nearly 1,000 plans covering everything that you'd want to build. From furniture projects to gift projects, kitchen accessories, workshop projects, and jigs and more. Find your next project at woodsmithplans.com.